Hi, my name is Julia Brown, and today I will be presenting on the article Energy Balance. There is more to obesity than kilocalories. Obesity is an epidemic that has been steadily increasing in the past century, especially in the past 20 years. Adults and children alike have both undergone obesity. Obesity increases the risk of many conditions and diseases, such as cardiovascular disease, gallbladder disease, diabetes type 2, and even amputations. Overweight individuals experience prejudice socially and economically, and children who are overweight often are teased. Overall, individuals who are overweight have a poorer quality of life. Thus, it is a priority to examine the factors that contribute to obesity. Obesity is not just simply an inability to control caloric intake, for several reasons. One study showed that caloric intake and energy balance is individual. Some people's bodies are able to regulate fairly easily, with energy imbalances different every day, but their body is able to still maintain weight stabilization. Others, however, have found that this is not the case for their bodies, and thus some of them have resorted to using the scale. Every day they weigh themselves at the same time, and based on their weight, they eat fewer or more calories. Others have resorted to caloric restriction, and this works for them. Thus, everyone is different. Weight loss studies also show that on low kilocalorie diets, weight loss rate is initially very quick. But after the bodily fluids are reestablished, weight gain slows down no matter the macronutrient content. New research has been showing that it is not the type of diet that is important, but it is adherence to that diet that makes weight loss successful. In a statistic, 5,000 military people are deployed annually because of weight restrictions. Thus, simple willpower is probably not the case. Weight gain must be contributed to several different factors rather than just willpower. One factor is the food that is eaten. Portion size has increased over the past century, and thus has people's increased food consumption. Another reason is calorically sweetened beverages, which is shown to increase the risk of weight gain in individuals who consume this. Food that is high in fat and sugar is often cheaper and more delicious to people than other foods. When dietary calcium is reduced, weight gain is also increased. In addition, babies who are breastfed less than 3 months have a higher risk of gaining weight than babies who are breastfed for more than 3 months. The diets also of mothers now are different, which has increased the concentration of omega-6 fatty acids, which has increased the risk of weight gain. Another factor is that physical activity has been reduced. It has been shown that people who have less physical activity and spend more time watching TV have a higher risk of gaining weight. Women who are active and normal weight have a much lower mortality risk than women who are active and overweight. And women who are inactive and obese have a higher mortality rate than all those women combined. Drugs also have been shown to increase the risk of weight gain. And even smoking cessation increases weight gain. After the first few weeks of weight gain, 1 to 2 kilograms of weight is lost. After the weeks following, 3 to 4 more kilograms of weight is gained. Thus, a total of 4 to 5 kilograms of weight after if individuals have successfully stopped smoking contributes to this weight gain. Another factor is actually viruses, which has been shown to increase obesity risk and even circulating blood cholesterol. Human primates have been shown to increase obesity and blood cholesterol when certain viruses are injected, but more research is still needed. Toxins may also contribute to obesity. MSG has been shown to cause obesity in mice. Long exposure to organochlorine molecules has been shown to affect metabolism and food and energy rate. Food additives have been hypothesized to increase the risk of weight gain, but further research is still needed. In genetic studies, researchers have found that certain hormones or certain factors in the body contribute to weight gain. Leptin is a hormone that is released by fat cells, so thus it is proportional to the fat of a person. As leptin increases, weight decreases, or weight gain decreases. However, in individuals who have a genetic lack of this hormone leptin, massive weight gain is observed. Similarly, with individuals who have an impaired melanocortin receptor 4, which is responsible for food intake, they have an impaired weight gain, similar to leptin. Thus, genes are also responsible for the obesity epidemic. Another factor is the conditions of a mother's womb as the fetus is developing. Fetuses developing in mothers during starvation have been shown to have an increased risk of weight gain later in life. Moms who smoke also, as their baby is in their womb, cause an increased risk of that baby to develop weight gain. Babies who are born small for their size are at an increased risk for weight gain. And large amounts of insulin produced early in a child's life have been shown to increase risk of weight gain later in life. The body can regulate itself, but differences in weight regulation cause differences in weight gain. For those individuals who have a higher carbohydrate oxidation, their risk for weight gain is significantly higher. The theory is that when the rate of carbohydrate oxidation is higher than carbohydrate intake, the body is stimulated to desire to eat more food. In addition, obese individuals who've lost weight have a harder time oxidizing fat, which makes it more difficult to lose weight. And they may also, and a slower metabolism is also a contributing factor to how the body loses weight. In addition, age is a factor. As people get older, they tend to exert less physical activity. This often results in an increase of weight. Another factor is impaired enzyme. So, often women who are postmenopausal are seen to have this phenomenon. When there's an impaired certain enzyme in the body, cortisol production around the belly is increased. As cortisol production around the belly is increased, an accumulation of fat cells is also noted. Food intake is regulated also by the gastrointestinal tract, specifically ghrelin, which has been studied the most. Ghrelin is responsible for an increase of food intake. Neurotransmitters also signal about food intake. In their absence, obesity results. In a study with men who slept 4 hours for 2 nights versus slept 10 hours, blood work showed that they had higher levels of ghrelin, which increases food consumption, and lower levels of leptin, which decreases food consumption. Thus, as seen, obesity results from many different factors, and willpower should not be the sole blame. The 3 main approaches to combating obesity, are education, regulation, and modification. In education, people are taught about proper nutrition and weight. This is especially helpful for children, and the school breakfast and lunch programs are helpful in solidifying this message. In regulation, consumers are shown what buying and proper serving sizes are. And in modulation, smaller portion sizes are institutionalized, as well as foods with lower calories. In conclusion, because there are so many factors to consider, dietitians should be aware so that they can take the proper steps to combat obesity. Patients may want immediate weight reduction, but dietitians should focus on lifestyle changes so that weight loss is sustainable. Dietitians can also target policy changes to help combat the obesity epidemic. As we look into the future, we must look into the past to see how successful changes have been made. The laws of nature, such as the law of gravity or the law of momentum, cannot be changed, but they can be used to our advantage. Using the knowledge of the law of momentum, people have instilled seatbelt rules for safety. Similarly, we can use the law of energy balance to find insight into losing weight. Regulations on how we package food should be made, and modulations with specific policies about unhealthful food available should be implemented. Thank you.